Howdy, out today is December 13th. We have another winter storm starting right now. We're expecting somewhere between 3 and 8 inches. We'll see how much we get, but this is the snowiest December I can remember. Not as far as amount, but just as far as snow staying on the ground. So it's a lot better than just looking at dead grass and mud, so I'd take this any day. Right now I'm working on setting the bees up. So I've got straw bales in between on the back. The one has the blanket. And then I just don't want the straw bales getting completely ruined, so I'm putting a tarp over it. It also acts as a windbreak, which is actually nice right now. So it's getting down to -4 tonight. That's the actual temperature. That's not even the wind chill. Tomorrow is going to be, I can't remember, but it's in the negatives. And I think the high is 8. So with the wind chill, it's going to be around -20. It's going to be pretty chilly. So the bottoms are sealed up because I do use the screen bottom boards. So I covered those up. And now I'm just going to tie this tarp down a little better. Howdy, out today is December 14th. We finally have some frozen water, so got the hot water going here. It's pretty chilly out. It's not really saying what it is. It's 40 degrees inside the well room here. I have the heater on as well as the hot water, obviously. But it's not registering what the barn is. Upstairs, it's registering at 14 degrees. Outside, it was about -3, so maybe the barn's even colder. With the weather today, definitely had some frozen eggs, busted, split, just gross. So a little over a dozen, which is unfortunate. However, I was able to save just over 2 dozen, so better than nothing. Howdy, out today is December 15th. I'm here at this old farm picking up the last of my pork. So it's just hams and bacon today. There's actually 6 boxes. I just loaded them up into the car. So we'll take them back to the farm and try and fit them somewhere. I was only expecting 4 boxes, not 6, but I figure the hams, I have 6 hams, so that probably adds a lot of space on the boxes. But this here's the bacon, it looks like. So I am really excited to try the ham. The snow is just so beautiful. Last night, I think it went down to -6, but I don't think it's getting that bad tonight. It was just a 2-day cold snap there. So it's currently 23 and it feels like a heat wave. So I think we're only getting down to 16 tonight. So it's a little better, but nothing above freezing. So far, I've managed to fit 3.5 boxes. I still have some room in my upright freezer and some in my pork freezer, so I think I'll be able to get it all to fit, which is a good thing. As far as all the cuts, they look really nice. The bacon looks amazing this go around. Also on the ingredients, they only added the sea salt this time, which is great because last time they had 2 salts in there and it was just too much. So I think the bacon will be perfect this time. The ham, what do they call them? The ham steaks. Those look amazing, so I'm excited to try those. The only thing I'm a little underwhelmed with are the actual hams themselves. They're just not what I expected. I was envisioning something a little more grand. So I have a ton of those now. I thought I was only gonna get 6 back, 6 big, huge hams, but I have some tiny ones. I don't know what this weighs. Let me weigh it real quick. So this ham is one of the larger ones and it's just at 4 pounds. So yeah, just not what I was expecting on those. I mean, they look tasty, but I was just expecting a big old slab of meat. This is the ham steak. It looks really nice. Look at that nice ring of fat around there. It looks super tasty. It's just like a little slab. So it's a nice meal right there. Then I have maybe 2 boxes of these. I don't know how many came in a box, I'll have to look, but they look really tasty. It just crossed my mind, if I did not get these big old ham steaks, I bet I would have had large hams. So they just sliced the hams, the actual roast, down, and these were the cuttings from those. So that makes sense the more I'm thinking about it, but nice to try both ways, I guess. Next time I'd like to get just a big fat ham though. Well, other than the ham let me down, I'm really happy with everything. It looks great. I did have the pork steaks. They're actually 2 in a pack. I didn't realize that. So when I fixed it, I realized that halfway through searing it that, oh, there's another one in there. So those were delicious. Oh my goodness. I really, really liked those. So I might not sell many of those. I might eat them. We'll see. I do want people to try them though, so I'm going to try not to eat all of them. But I haven't tried anything else yet from the pigs, but just the pork steaks were amazing. So the hams are a little disappointment because I was going to advertise for Christmas ham, Easter ham, because people like having that for the holidays. But it's a little underwhelming having a tiny little roast, and most people probably don't want a ham steak, just a little sliver of it either. So I don't know. I'm definitely going to be eating it for Christmas, but it wasn't the big thing I had in mind. So I'm really excited to try it though. It looks delicious. And I did myself 0 favors for when I have to get customers' orders. I had to rip that box there because the light doesn't sit flush, so the lid wouldn't pop down real good. Have a couple things of bacon, 2 ham roasts, and then a big old thing of bacon over there. In order to get everything else, I'm gonna have to pull stuff out, so this would be kind of annoying, but I didn't have room to actually put a box in there, so that's the best I could do. This freezer over here, I think is mostly chicken. Yeah, for the most part, just chicken. Then I got some more hiding up there, but got my ribs in stock again. I do have chicken feet, if people ask. I don't bring it to every farmer's market, but I do have them. And this freezer over here is just an avalanche waiting to happen. But I've got some chicken up there. This looks really sketchy, but I have chicken behind it. That's the ground pork. There's some bacon, ham, more pork steaks down there, more chicken. Put a couple things of bacon. My ham steaks, it's actually really convenient because they did slide in there pretty easily. And then I have a couple things of bacon here, so that freezer is packed. I couldn't put any more in there. This freezer here I just need to clean out. There's not a lot in there except some old roosters for stewing. I'm just extremely happy that I was able to get all that to fit rather easily. I was a little bit concerned, but it wasn't too bad. I'm going to be bringing home some ham here. So I'm going to bring home some ham steaks, give those a try, as well as a few of the actual roasts, which are very tiny, but I'm sure they'll be very tasty. And now, let's get on some chores. Oh, how I do not miss thawing out frozen water. Not my favorite thing to do. But we still have a couple frozen ones today, not as bad as the last go around, so hopefully it won't take as long to thaw them out. Howdy, y'all. Today is December 17th. I have a long to-do list, and it's actually not bad out weather-wise. It's about 45 degrees, so I think I'm going to start with cleaning the barn. I lied. Actually, I started with grabbing eggs. I'm still going to wait a couple hours until I do chores, but I wanted to grab them from the coops that don't have the raw nesting boxes, just in case they do bust them. They're not going to be busted, so I got just over a dozen. And now we're going to start on the barn, just have a nice good clean home base to start some other projects. That feels so much better. The goal is to get the table done. Table's done. I can walk around the barn and I have a table to work on if I need anything. for that. So that's a really great feeling to have done. I don't want to spend any more time on the barn because I could easily spend all day cleaning and organizing the barn, but it's a nice day and I have a long to-do list and I want to at least get a few other things done. So I'm going to check the list and see what's up next. I'm thinking maybe we roll the nets up next. Doesn't look too bad out there. We grab some boots though. I'm impressed that the mower started, so I'll probably drive that around for a little while, but I'm gonna hook the wagon up. It'll just make it a lot easier to get those nets up after I roll them up. And then there was something else I was gonna do while I had it going. Oh, I might try to drag some coops. We'll see. Things are still pretty frozen, but I might get lucky. The old stomping grounds of the chickens. So there's a lot to pick up out here. Hopefully this net isn't frozen into the ground. We'll see how bad it is, but like I said, it is 45. Oh, that was easy. I thought it might be a little harder. Hopefully all of them are that easy. Good. So they're pulling nice. So this shouldn't be too terribly hard to get done. One net is done and picked up for the year. This other net over here, I'm gonna go ahead and call it trash. It's pretty bad off. Most of the actual spikes that you step into the ground are bent to the point you can't step on them anymore. And the tops of the posts, you can see like this one, these things, a lot of them are just broken. So this one's actually good, but the majority are pretty well done. So here's a good example of one where the tops are just gone, missing, broken. So the whole net sags. What I was doing to really try and extend the life, just the last little bit was just hold the net up like that. This is a little fiberglass pole, so it'll shred easy if I tried to cut it and make a groove. So you can see what I was trying to do just to keep the net up. I was twisting it around because a lot of these are broken. So this one is done, not just because all the tops are snapped and broken and the posts where you step in are broken, but also because the net itself is plastic and very brittle. It's already an old net, so a lot of the plastic is already snapped and there's just a ton of holes in it. So it was a good net while it lasted. Thank you to the family that donated it to me. This net actually originally belonged to a friend and coworker of mine who tragically passed away. I want to say it was January of 21. Just out driving, hit some black ice, and that was it. So he had just started his own farm, just like I'd done, and yeah, so he had a lot of equipment and his parents thought of me for this net. So I really appreciate it. I thank you guys for giving it to me. It served me well, but it's definitely done and seen better days. It's gotten me through a lot though. Y'all know what would look great on this nice clean table? Beautiful. That is just lovely. Now I could leave all the hoops out there, but it's just gonna be a lot easier replacing the tarps and working on a few things if I drag them up. I will need most likely 2, maybe just 1 up here for the birds that are upstairs. This coop here was the coop I used for the meat birds, and it doesn't have any roosts or nesting boxes. So I prefer not to use this one just yet because I need to put roost bars in it, nesting box, and it just needs a little more work. Those out there are at least ready to go, minus a couple small modifications. So ideally I'm going to pull those up and do some work on them, and then move the chicks that are upstairs out here, and we'll see how that works. My other triangle coop out there, I'm going to use that one for meat birds this year because I can't get the roost bars with that angle up high enough So it works better having the cylindrical top. So that way I can put the roost bars up a little higher versus that V where I have to push everything down, and then the chickens just don't like that. Well, we were able to move it a little bit, y'all, but it didn't go too terribly far there. It's just picking up too much snow, and I don't get any traction with the mower, so I don't want to break anything, and it's just not pulling. So we're gonna have to wait until the snow clears off. I am a little concerned with mud at that point, but we'll deal with it when it comes. So it's just not gonna move with the snow. I'm gonna stand out here because the chicks are a little loud in there. But for the past, well, I guess today is day number 3 now. So today's Wednesday. Starting on Monday, I came in and there was a dead chick. At this age, it's a little odd, but I was like, okay, it's a fluke. Got rid of it, did chores, thought nothing more of it. Came in yesterday, it was Tuesday, dead chick. That's really weird. 2 in a row. They were in different tubs, not even the same tub. I had the heat lamps on and the room was sitting at about 75. So it's like, well, maybe they're getting too hot. They're not cramped or crowded in their tubs. So I just unplugged the heat lamps and figured I solved the problem. But today is Wednesday and I have another dead chick. This one's a little interesting because he has a little bit of blood around his neck, which is odd. I don't think it's rats or mice, but I don't know. I'm gonna take a closer look at this one. Now I will say, because the past 2 days I'd had this happen, when I first got here at 11:30, I went up, checked on the chicks. All of them were alive and fine. And it's 2 o'clock now, and then that's when I came. If you don't want to see a dead bird, don't look. But then I found this guy, but you can see, well, you can't really see too well on the camera, but there's just a little bit of blood there on the neck. So I'm gonna peel the feathers back and see if I can figure out what's going on. The other birds didn't have, if you were looking away, you can look again. The other birds didn't have any blood on them. So I don't know. They all kind of were splayed out like that with their legs, just stretched out. So I looked the chick over. The chick actually doesn't have any nicks, cuts, bites, or anything on it. That was blood that was just on the outside of the chick. So I'm gonna go upstairs and check my other birds. Okay, I just put fresh bedding in all the tubs, a really thick layer of it, and you can see that there's still some blood. So I'm thinking that's probably diarrhea if I had to think about it. The chicks that have died, their butts have all been cleaned. So that hasn't been an issue. But that's the only other thing that could be there. So for the air quality issue, I'm gonna leave this window open. I've plugged in the heat lamps again. I'm gonna leave the door closed. There's no rats coming in through the window, so I'm not worried about that. My bugs won't be real happy about it, but I care a little bit more about my chicks than I do my bugs. So that's gonna help with the air quality. So now we've taken care of that. As far as the sudden death and what appears to be some bloody diarrhea, it's leading me towards what I'm thinking I might be up against here. So I've cleaned all the waters, I've cleaned all the feeders. I've added some stuff. I'll go downstairs real quick and show you. So I sprinkled a little bit of this in each of the waters up there. It's got some good stuff in there, hopefully help them out. This is frozen, but it's basically the same thing. So they at least have that for now. There's actually something at Tractor Supply that I'd like to pick up and put in the water. But with some of the things I'm observing, what I'm thinking I have is coccidiosis. When you order chicks, you have the option to have them vaccinated. I never vaccinate any of my chicks, never have. Also, if you don't go that route, you can feed them medicated feed, which I also do not do. So my chickens, you know, they're always outside, always fresh air, plenty of space, nice air quality. They're just usually out in the open, but considering I have 50 chicks upstairs in a room that's been kind of closed up, I mean, it seems like we're running into that issue. At least it seems like things are pointing toward coccidiosis. It could not be, but that's just kind of what's running through my mind right now, what could potentially be causing the sudden death of some of my chicks up there. All right, chores are all done, so I'm gonna head to Tractor Supply. I need to grab a couple more feeders because I'm out of those, as well as another waterer. When it was, you know, 2 degrees outside, I did have one waterer base crack when I tried to unscrew it, and I like having an extra just in case. So I need to grab 2 feeders, 1 water, and then something for the chicks upstairs if I am dealing with coccidiosis. And coccidiosis, I mean, it's found in the environment naturally. All of my chickens have been exposed to it, and at low levels they build up a natural immunity to it, and it's not an issue. It generally affects younger birds harder, just because they are smaller. So I like keeping things as organic as possible. That's why I don't bother vaccinating, because they're going to get exposed to it anyway, but they can get overwhelmed with it, which is what I think is happening upstairs with my chicks. So I just want to make sure that they're completely taken care of there. Basically what I'm looking for the chicks is something that has a lot of vitamin B1 in it. Hopefully Tractor Supply will have something that's an organic, even semi-organic. I have a feeling they're going to have a lot of synthetic stuff, but hopefully they have something with that's pretty heavy hitting that'll knock this out pretty quickly. Well, as I thought, they didn't have a lot, so they have a few different ways you can apply cord. I usually try to go for the more organic approach. They had 1 left, which, see that thiamine, vitamin B1 there? That's a pretty good dose there, so we're gonna try this first. This was the last one they had, so I was glad I got there and got it. But it says a 1/3 teaspoon per, what was it, per gallon. So I really don't need much. The water's kind of yellow from the stuff I put in before, so I'm not going to completely change it out. I want to give them a pretty good dose, but just a little bit of that in each of the waters. So I think we caught it early enough, but the chances of me coming in tomorrow and finding a dead chick or dead chicks is still pretty high. So it's going to take a little bit of time for that to kick in. The most important thing is I think we caught it on time, and at least we're doing something about it. They've got fresh air, they've got clean bedding, clean feeders, clean waters, and they've got that vitamin mix in their water now. So we'll keep an eye on it and adjust things as needed. Howdy y'all, today is December 18th. All the chicks are alive and well. Still got plenty of food and water. I am gonna rinse the water out, change that, keep everything clean. Everybody alive and well. I just did them with the new water and food, so they're good. And the last tub over here, alive and well. So I'm gonna throw more bedding in, food, water on the other 2 tubs. I did wash my bee suit earlier just by hand in a bucket, so it actually looks a lot better than what it did. Truth be told, I hadn't washed that thing since I got it. Next up, I'm doing some work on the candy boards here. These were left over, they're a little dirty. I'm gonna refresh them. I'm also building another one, so that's why I see a few things out, but I need 4. I have 2 pretty much done. I just wanna put a little bit more sugar on some of the bare areas there. I'm just doing sugar, water, and a little splash of vinegar. I'm just mixing this until it makes a nice thick paste. Probably need a little bit more sugar in there. And then we will spread it on some of those bare patches and maybe put a little thin layer over the rest of everything else there. And you know, instead of making a new one, why not just use this? This is actually for spring feeding, fall feeding, basically warmer months. You put the liquid in here and the bees can't actually get in there because usually this is there. So they can just take a drink through all the little edges here. But it's gonna be a lot easier if I just pop that off, make a candy board in here, bees can get in and out, make it super simple. So I'm gonna do that instead. I do have some bees out and about, which is great. There's one right there. Gotta see them. So that's good. I'll check and see if they live and get this hobo looking shack off. And then we'll see if I can pry the top covers off. All right, we do have bees and the bees still have honey. I can't tell how many, but they're still down low. I took the super off. I don't want to leave it off too long. So let me go ahead and pop on the candy board. The other hive, I was able to pop the top off really easy. This one, not so much. They got it glued down really well. Got it. This is a really nice looking hive here. It's big looking. They've still got honey down in there, which is great to see. So I'm gonna go ahead and I just got covered in bee poop. There's a ton of bees that just kind of plumed out. I felt really bad crushing a few of them, but I had to get the candy board on and the lid, but most are fine. As you can see, there are a lot of bees there. I have poop all over my screen on my phone too. Bees are really hygienic. They don't like going to the bathroom inside their house, so they go outside and they're really well trained. So when I opened that top off, there were a lot of bees that hadn't been out yet, and oh my goodness, it's just bee poop everywhere raining down. The candy board looked like I threw confetti on it. So I've got bees all over me. They're not real happy. I'm gonna let them cool down a little bit and then button them back up for the night. And if you're wondering what bee poop looks like, it looks like that, just little globs of red goo. There's another one there. Well, it looks like the rain's back to stay. It's lightly raining now, but by the time I make it over to the other two hives, they're on even two different properties, it's gonna be raining pretty good. So it doesn't look like I'll be able to get the candy boards on today, but Saturday looked, I think, decent. It was 47. Tomorrow's gonna be 24, so it's not gonna happen. But it's not the end of the world because I had to make two, so it's really best to let them set up overnight anyway. So we'll plan on Saturday getting the last two in, but I'm really happy to see two good looking hives.